everybody, we are back with another video. Actually, this is part 2 of the entire history of FNaF by John, aka FuhNaff. Let's get right back into it. It's a little bit before we left off because I had to reset my my screen recording, so
how this character would fit into the lore and the gameplay. We would soon get that context when the official extended FNaF 2 demo was sent to select YouTubers by Scott Cawthon only a day later, over a month before the game's projected release date. Markiplier, Koryax Kenshin, and a few other YouTubers received the demo directly from Scott himself via email on November 10th. They were the only people on the planet who were able to play one of the most anticipated games of 2014, so naturally their Let's Plays blew up. Markiplier already had his first 3 videos up on the game in the span of 24 hours, with the first one already accumulating over 3 million views. FNaF was officially back and blowing up all over again thanks to some of the biggest YouTubers on the planet. People loved FNaF 2. With the new mechanics, new pizzeria, new jump scares, people were enamored with the experience it brought. But one part of the game that was brand new that kept everyone curious about what was going on at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was the cutscenes. One of the major reasons the original FNaF took off was because of its lore. Using the posters on the walls, people started to get a sense that there was a story behind these haunted animatronics. And with the help of MatPat and Reddit, people really started to try and find every clue possible to get us closer to a concrete story. Scott decided to lean into the storytelling aspect a lot more with FNaF 2, introducing various 8-bit minigames and 3D cutscenes throughout the game. After completing each night, you would get a 3D cutscene of you on stage as Freddy Fazbear looking around at the other animatronics. 8-bit minigames would show up randomly after getting jump scared. These were arguably the creepiest part of FNaF 2. There are 4 8-bit minigames in FNaF 2, beginning with the more innocent one of us playing as Foxy walking off stage to surprise some kids while a creepy pink man? Purple guy? Violet? While the creepy man watches from the distance to us walking through the original FNaF pizzeria with blood everywhere while we follow a floating marionette. Yeah, these minigames were vague enough for them to be confusing, but clear enough for people to understand loosely what the story was supposed to be. Lucky for you, I am not going to break down the entire lore of FNaF in this video because we would be here all day. Maybe I'll make that video one day.
That MatPat FNaF timeline video.
No. Anyways, these cutscenes and minigames were exactly what the franchise needed to help keep the hype going. Around this time, FNaF hoaxes were also pretty popular. This was essentially fans making fake images that looked like they're real Easter eggs from the games. The most popular hoaxes back then were Sparky the Dog in FNaF 1 and the Purple Man animatronic from FNaF 2, but you know, there's a lot more than that now. On November 13th, 2014, only one day after FNaF 2's official release, Scott Games officially went dark, not showing any other games or hyperlinks, just one black image with the word offline. The FNaF community was in shambles. People were wetting the bed. People were losing sleep, selling all of their Bitcoin because what if this was the end? What if FNaF was over? What if we were never gonna get another...
Until next time.
When you brighten the image, you can see text in the bottom that states, "Until next time." This image stayed on Scott Games for a while. At least it was a while compared to the near weekly updates we were getting. The website wasn't updated until about a month later.
So try a few edits, see if we can get anything. And instantly, guys, on the right now, it's changed to a number 3, and nobody's realised it could have been here for days, guys.
Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was officially on the way. For the next month, ScottGames.com went dark. No new teasers, trailers, or anything, yet FNaF kept growing. During this time, MatPat released his game theory on FNaF 2, and Let's Players kept posting their reactions to the newest games. The FNaF Reddit was filled with theories and tons of fan art, and people were anxiously awaiting the 3rd installment. After a month of silence, Scott Games was finally updated on January 2nd, 2015. The teaser featured a brand new animatronic with the text, "I am still here." This was a quite shocking teaser considering no one knew who the animatronic was. In the image, you can only see half of its face, so naturally people tried mirroring it to see if they could identify the mystery animatronic. When mirrored, it sort of resembled Golden Freddy, but with completely new features. 12 days later, we got an even better look at the new animatronic when the What Can We Use teaser dropped on January 14th. The teaser featured all of the toy animatronics from FNaF 2 stuffed into a cardboard box, and when brightened, the mystery animatronic standing ominously next to it. People still seemed to think that this was Golden Freddy, and honestly, I did too. The animatronic did look somewhat like a bear and was golden, and we didn't get a good look at the ears yet, so you couldn't really blame anyone. People had a lot of theories theories about what this teaser could mean, most of them thinking that we were going to learn a lot more about Golden Freddy and that the toy animatronics were going to be back. Little did they know, less than 2 weeks later, their theories would be thrown in the trash. On January 26th, the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 3 hit YouTube. FNaF was at peak popularity at the time, and you could make a good argument that to this day, the FNaF 3 era was the most popular FNaF has ever been. Millions of people tuned in to see what the next FNaF game had in store. The FNaF YouTube community was also starting to form at this time, posting their reactions and analyses of the new trailer. The trailer consisted of mostly cinematic shots with text reading, "He will come back, he always does, we have a place for him," and ending with a jump scare. The FNaF community on YouTube and Reddit were officially off to the races, looking for hidden secrets and clues to what this game could be about. Even after the trailer came out and we got a good look at the new animatronic, people still did not know what the heck this thing was. Some people still thought it was Golden Freddy, some thought it was Golden Bonnie, and others thought it may be a hybrid of the two. ScottGames.com was updated the same day the trailer came out with the words "he always does" in purple text. This led people to believe that the text in the trailer wasn't talking about the phone guy, the night guard, or the mystery animatronic, but the purple guy. Little did they know that some of those things might be related in more ways than one. On February 3rd, ScottGames.com was updated once again with our first look at the map for FNaF 3. When brightened up, you could see that there was a ventilation system connecting the whole pizzeria that presumably animatronics could crawl through. This map debunked the theory that some people had that FNaF 3 would take place in the FNaF pizzeria since the map is completely different. People continued theorizing all over the internet, asking questions about what this game was going to be about, why does the purple guy keep coming back, and most of all, who is that new Golden Freddy / Bonnie hybrid? Well, we didn't find out the name of this mystery animatronic until February 15th when Scott made a post on Steam titled "Early Beta Testing Successful." In this post, updating the community on the progress of FNaF 3, there are multiple words with double letters in them. When you eventually put all the doubled letters together, it spelled out "My name is Springtrap." Scott was very active on Steam, interacting with fans and answering questions fairly regularly, so it wasn't really a shock that he made this big reveal on Steam. In fact, the same day, Scott put a new post on the forum saying, "It's true, I was hacked and the game is cancelled. Someone released it for free here," with a link to this GameJolt page. The community was confused and collectively freaked out and immediately downloaded the game, and when they opened the game, this is what happened.
What's up, YouTube? What's going on? Corey continuing. Welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's 3. It's finally out, you guys. Let's do it.
This was the first troll of many for Scott Cawthon. The troll game was basically a reskin of one of Scott's older games, There Is No Pause Button. Even though it was obviously a troll by Scott, people actually thought that Scott was hacked, leading him to update his post to reassure everyone that he isn't hacked, FNaF 3 is still coming, and to enjoy the game he made for everyone. 1 month after the "He Always Does" teaser on ScottGames.com, the website was updated again, this time with one on March 1st and then one on March 2nd. These teasers featured Balloon Boy, Chica, and Foxy with a wooden-like texture on them. People didn't really know what to make of these, theorizing that these were older versions of the animatronics, maybe made out of wood. But the thing that caught people's attention the most was when you brightened up the Balloon Boy image, you could see a giant number 10, which seemed like the beginning of a countdown. People legit freaked out at this, including Dawko.
What is going on, guys? Dawko back again, and finally, Scott has posted a new teaser on his website, and it says "Guess Who?" with Balloon Boy, guys. Balloon Boy. Holy crap, guys, it's freaking Balloon Boy. But is it? But if you brighten it up, guys, there's a 10. There's a freaking 10 there, which means Five Nights at Freddy's 3, the demo or the full game, I don't know, is going to be released the 10th. But sadly, it doesn't say the 10th of March, the 10th of April.
It could have been 10 hours.
But it just says a 10.
Or 10
Was
minutes.
this a countdown? Was it going to be released 10 days from now, 10 weeks from now, 10 months from now? And actually, none of those were correct. The FNaF 3 demo was sent to select YouTubers on March 2nd, 2015, the day after the countdown started on ScottGames.com.
Probably 10 hours.
FNaF 3 playthroughs quickly started being posted on YouTube, with Markiplier's video getting over 1 million views in its first 7 hours. The game was then officially released to the public the very next day on March 3rd, 2015. The game featured only one physical animatronic who could kill you, and that was Springtrap. The goal of the game was to distract Springtrap using sound cues through the camera system to keep him away from you until 6 a.m. All the while resetting your audio, camera, and ventilation systems so you don't get jump scared by various hallucinations of past animatronics. At the beginning, we were introduced to the phone dude, voiced by Scott Cawthon himself, who then turned into the regular phone guy after some old training tapes were found and played for us in the place of phone dude. In the game, there was a small chance you would get a secret screen of an up-close shot of Springtrap where you could see the remains of a human body inside of him. These secret images were also in FNaF 2 with Withered Foxy, Withered Freddy, and Toy Bonnie. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 came with mixed reviews and continues to be one of the most divisive games in the franchise. The game gave us a ton of lore with Phone Dude and Phone Guy's calls each night, secret minigames, and newspaper clippings, but some didn't like that it wasn't scary enough. People said that the Springtrap jump scares weren't very effective and that the stakes were lowered because of that. Also, casual players were starting to get lost and confused by the lore since you had to actively seek it out by finding cupcakes, clicking on a Shadow Bonnie figure, and typing a code into the walls of the office. The whole community came together to try and piece the vague 8-bit minigames into one cohesive story/timeline. And I would say that the community did a pretty good job with the little information that they were given. No matter what some reviewers had to say, FNaF 3 was another success for Scott Cawthon, with the trailer getting the most views out of all the other FNaF games and the community being more alive than ever. It was during this time, on April 7th, 2015, the news broke that Warner Brothers picked up the rights for a FNaF movie. We were actually getting a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. With the release of FNaF 3, ScottGames.com was updated one last time, with no secrets, no Easter eggs, just Freddy's hat in the spotlight. A final goodbye to the majorly successful trilogy that changed the... Oh, the hat is gone. On April 22nd, 2015, only 50 days after the release of FNaF 3 and ScottGames.com being updated, the hat vanished, and the community was in shambles. People were asking, where did it go? Who took it? Is there actually going to be a fourth FNaF game? Well, yes. 5 days later, the hat returned in a big way, being held by none other than Nightmare Freddy in our first ever teaser for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. The community ran with the name Nightmare Freddy because when you brighten the teaser, it shows the word Nightmare at the bottom. The game would be called FNaF 4, the final chapter, and had a release date of Halloween 2015. The game seemed to be leaning way more into the horror elements that people were looking for in FNaF 3. It looked like Scott was actually listening to criticism in regards to FNaF 3 not being scary enough and decided to course correct a bit. My guess is that Scott valued the poor reviews of his game because the poor reviews of his games were the reason FNaF began in the first place. A week and a half after the Nightmare Freddy teaser, we got our first look at Nightmare Bonnie, this time with the words "Was it me?" in the top left corner. The community immediately connected this question with the Bite of 87. The Bite of 87 was one of the biggest mysteries of the first FNaF game, and now 3 games into the franchise, we still didn't know which animatronic actually did the biting. People started noticing a pattern, predicting that each new teaser would feature a new version of the classic animatronics in nightmare form, and that's exactly what happened. We got Nightmare Chica on May 16th and Nightmare Foxy on May 29th.
I wish
Chica's teaser still had the Nightmare text when brightened, while Foxy's said out of order, both asking the same question of was it me or me? The thing that was the most out of the ordinary about these teasers was that Foxy had a tongue. This was the first time Foxy was seen with a tongue and the last since it was cut from the final game. The teaser that followed these broke the pattern that was established over the past few weeks and shocked everyone. On June 11th, 2015, this image was uploaded to ScottGames.com. It featured a purple hat and bow tie under a spotlight. When brightened, you could see the text "property of I don't know. When I first saw this teaser, I naturally thought it meant Freddy Fazbear because it started with an FR and ended with an R. But upon further inspection, you can actually tell that it ends in an ER and not an R, which is not how you spell Fazbear. The community quickly pieced together that the text probably reads "Property of Fredbear's Family Diner." This was significant because that was supposedly the first pizzeria and the place where the first murder took place. The community started to theorize that maybe FNaF 4 would show us more about what happened at Fredbear's Family Diner and why the purple guy decided to start his killing spree.
The teasers on FNaF 4 are probably the best, I'd say. Best teasers would go to FNaF 4. The memory that I think of with FNaF 4 specifically is Fredbear.
The next teaser followed the same idea as the first FNaF 4 teaser, someone placing a hat in the spotlight and then someone picking it up. And in this case, 2 weeks later on June 25th, we saw Nightmare Fredbear sporting the purple bow tie with a giant mouth stomach. These teasers were getting so crazy that if you looked into the source code of the website and went to a random chunk of scrambled letters, moved each letter back 1 letter in the alphabet, it actually spelled out Fredbear. Checking the source code was a vital part of figuring out the lore at this point in the series, and that's why the FNaF community to this day takes every little clue seriously, because even a random bunch of letters in the source code of a website could have big lore secrets hidden within. The next FNaF teaser arrived on July 9th and featured what seemed to be a mini version of Springtrap sitting in a chair with the words "Terrible things come in small packages" above it. When brightened, you could clearly see 4 doorways, 2 on each side of the hallway. The community figured out that this character's name was Plushtrap, once again through the source code. This time, Scott used an encryption technique called Caesar's cipher, a type of substitution cipher in which each letter in the plaintext is replaced by a letter some fixed number of positions down the alphabet. Back then, if you weren't at least a little familiar with cryptography, you were not going to figure out the new FNaF lore, or you were just waiting for someone else to figure it out for you. But
Yeah,
with the
I was one
thousands of
waiting for
people on the
someone else.
FNaF Reddit, it usually took about an hour, sometimes less. On July 13th, 2015, only 4 days after the Plush Trap teaser, the FNaF 4 trailer hit YouTube. At this point, everyone was in full theory mode, looking into every detail and looking
Dude,
for
the trailer
every
for
clue
this
they
scared
can
the
to see how
absolute
this game
shit
fits
out
into
of
the
me when I
lore
first
we
saw
already
it.
kind of know.
Still
The
kinda
trailer
does.
starts off with a shot of a flashlight flickering on and off down a hallway. This was the first time we got it confirmed that this game was going to be set inside of a house. I remember watching this trailer and losing my mind at how good the graphics looked and how cool and different it felt. I think one of the big reasons FNaF is so successful is because Scott changed things up quite a bit, but not enough for it not to feel like a FNaF game. The trailer showed Foxy, Chica, Plush Trap, the Freddles, and lastly a jump scare from Bonnie. That jump scare was different from any of the past games. The model was creepier, the animation was improved, and
it was a whole lot more
just
terrifying.
hit different. It's safe to say the community went nuts over this trailer, trying to figure out a few things: how a camera system would fit into the game, how did we get to the part of the house Plush Trap was in, and why were these giant nightmare animatronics roaming through someone's house late at night like they got up to get a glass of warm milk because they couldn't sleep or something. We'd soon find out some of these answers. On July 21st, 2015, Dawko and Razbowski uploaded videos titled Official FNaF 4 Demo Reaction. Scott Cawthon actually sent Dawko and Raz FNaF 4 2 days before everyone else in order to tell everyone what they thought of the game. Both of their videos started with their reaction to the Bonnie jump scare, and it's just a joy to watch.
Oh, things are starting to move now. Oh, things are starting to move now. Oh my. No, what the hell? The game is absolutely terrifying.
Still,
And I
it's to this day, and it still holds up.
Playing it now because it's so scary. Because you have to rely on sound, and usually I get really scared when I think I'm going to be okay.
And yes, we are going to be doing a playthrough of FNaF 4.
I don't hear breathing, and I put on the flashlight, and I'm dead.
I'm going to have to cut the video off here. You know, like I said, this is just part 2 of the entire history of FNaF, and then soon we'll do once this is all done, I'm going to do a reaction to the FNaF timeline as done by Game Theory, and I love the way MatPat did it. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Be sure to leave a like, share, or fuck it, what am I doing? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family if you think it's appropriate, and if it's inappropriate, share with your friends on the entire internet. My name is Referee Rob Jackson, and of course, I will be catching you guys in the next video. I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.